So once you have your grids done to this level, if you have other extra grids like this and you don't like them, you want to clean up your work, you can always select them. Once you select them, you come to stretch, then you simply click on your grid, then bring them to a sizable place that you are comfortable with. Like I'm okay them being there. So the next thing that you'll be seeing, remember we have only done the major grids, and the next thing that we'll be working on is now to define our levels of our building. So to design the building level, you will simply come here to Storey, right click and then go to insert stories. But before that, let's look at our architectural plan. In our architectural plan, you can see we have 8-story, that's which will include the roof plan, the roof, the basement. I mean that this is the basement, this is the basement, this is the ground floor, and then we have a mezzanine, we have floor plan, first floor plan, second, third, and fourth. So if you add all these, we are going to have, let's say we're going to have seven-story building. That is the starting from the basement, 1, 2, ground floor, 3, mezzanine, 4, the first floor, 5, the second floor, 6, the third floor, 7th, the fourth floor. So this is what we'll be having. So once now you go back to your ProtaStructure, then click on the stories and then insert on stories. So once you want to insert on these stories, you simply come and select 7. You can always add in, just in case you want to modify the number of stories, or you can always delete. So let's go with 7. We start with the first one. So you can always come there. So we already have the number of stories. If you maybe want to check on their dimensions, you can always come here and then come to edit story. Once you come to edit story, you can modify their specific length. For instance, this is our basement. Under the basement, you can say let our basement be around 2,500, 3,000. Yeah, 3,000 is okay. And then let's have maybe the mezzanine ground floor. Ground floor should be a bit longer, so you can give it 25, 3,500, and then the mezzanine should be a bit shorter. You can give it 25. Then click OK. Then you can come here. What's your foundation depth? Our foundation depth for my case here, I want it to be a bit 1,500. After you do that, you can simply click OK. So for this first part, it's over. We have at least managed to put grids and specify our story levels or story elevation heights. So in a subsequent lesson, we are going to look on how to add column. So thank you. Well, now welcome back. This was our plan. Let's now continue with our design. Now in this part, we are going to look on how you can add columns for our building. Let's revisit back to our architectural column. Remember, you can also do a general arrangement drawing, which I've done in other videos, so that you import directly the column that you have so chosen, or you can just decide to model them directly. For my case, I'm doing a direct modeling. So you have to look at where lie inside these columns. We can do that using our ground floor. And if we look at the ground floor, we have this architecture as indicated where he wants the columns, but I believe that we'll have to add other extra columns for our case here, so that we make our structure structurally stable. So to do that, we can first actually start by adding the columns that are here. So let's go and start modeling the existing columns, and then we'll do other columns that we prefer. So to do that, you simply go to your ProtaStructure software, click on column. Under column, you just define your column size. I want column size which is for these exterior ones. I'll be preferring columns that are 44 by 3. So for the breadth, I can put to be 4. And then for this one, I can put to be 3. So you can simply come here and just insert your column. And if you look at this column, you can see it's striking directly on the grid, but remember how to offset it a bit because our land, our plots, there is something I told you about a plot. This is the boundary plot. So we should make sure that nothing goes, it just flashes with our boundary plot. It does not go beyond the boundary plot. So if I'm inserting this column here, I should make sure that it flashes with the boundary plot so that maybe there are existing building on the other side. So to do that, ProtaStructure has that option. You can always click on your column. After click on your column, you right click, go to properties so that you can modify that column. There is this part of eccentricity whereby you can always change your position of your column like that. So you can have it there. So once I have it there, we can use this one to copy and paste it in the subsequent column. Just go that and I will simply come and paste it here where I need it. Yes, but I will still come and change it. I want these columns of this size. So simply have that. And then under this, once we come on this side, so if I place this one here, you can see it will go beyond this grid. So I have to change the eccentricity. Just come there, right click, go to properties. Now I have to change this to, let's just change it to this and then update. Yes, we have it there. So you can always come and copy this, come and select it, then copy to this. So I can always do this, but we'll have to change these corner columns because also the plot boundary ends at this grid. So to do that, you can simply come here, right click on this, go to properties, then come to this and try to fix it there and see, update. Yes, I have it there. Come to this one also, right click on this, right click, come to properties, simply update that based on your plot boundary. You can also do this, right click on the this, then come to plot boundary, click on this, update. We have it there. We also have to check on this, right click, go to properties, check on this and want to insert on that, update, and we have it there. So we already have our major column, so we want to do these other columns here. So what we do, simply right click on this, go to column, right click, properties, click on this, right click, go to select properties, change it to yes, like that. So you can have this. It's a bit taking time, but this is the right way to do it. Because I'm using a practical example, as you can see, you have to put your columns right based on the boundary condition of your plot. So right click here. So, but this is not the end. So on here, we can simply have them at the center. So you simply come to properties. Under properties, choose this center, update, you have it there. So just come and insert that one. So we also have all this. Yes, we have all those are our columns. So I believe with that, if with that you are done with the column, you can simply go to the 3D view and you just see you have your columns there. So our next thing is we have to review our architectural plan and see. So remember we have a wall here, and for us to add the beam wall load, we need a beam. So we will need to add some extra grid here to cater for that. And we'll introduce some minor columns here so that they can be able to carry this more load so that it does not rest on the slab and we do not overstrain our beams. So, and remember that you are in grid 1, and we also need to have an extra grid here which will take care of this RAM and other features in our design model. Because this is the ground floor. After ground floor, we have also the same of the mezzanine. You can see it extends to the mezzanine. And then once we reach at the first floor, the first will disappear. So to take care of that, we need an extra column here, which I'm going to offset by 45. And then I'll add other columns here. So let me go to plan view. Let me first go to first floor. So the mistake I did is that I designed this one at the 7th floor. I didn't go to the first floor. So to bring them down, you simply go to the generate story option. You simply come to stories, generate story, and then we want to, we're at generate from, you have to go to the story level that you want to generate our members from. So we want to go to the seventh level, and at the seventh story, then go to stories, generate story, and a generate story. We are generating story from 7th floor to the first floor, and we are only going to work with deselect all. We only want to do with columns. Where are our columns? And click OK. Click OK. Then close. You can see we have these are columns here at the floor level. So what you do, you simply select those and just delete them. Delete those columns. Yes. So we can go back to our level 1 and view. So we have our columns here. That's why it's good to check actually in 3D when you model, you at least check and see if there is an issue. So one thing I have to do is that I want to offset this grid here. Offset grid to press F2 or shift F2, negative 45. Press enter. Then select all this. Once you select, come here, go to stretch, click on this, stretch them a bit to there, and you have your model there. So with this one, so we will need to reset this column properly. So we can simply come to properties, yes, that way, and also this one. Because that's not the edge of our boundary plot, so we can actually put them at the center and put them properly the way they are supposed to. That's what I'm just correcting. And at this, we have to use this and then update, and we have it there. So now let's go back to our architectural plan and view how it looks like. You can see this one looks like this. So we need a column here. We also need another column here. We need a column at the end here, and this one and this one. So we need like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's go there and insert those columns. So right click here, properties, so with this one, so this is the end of the plot. You can simply click them, but you are going to correct them. So let's have this, have it like this, update, put it there, put it here. We want to have this one at the end, so we simply come here, change to this, update, just go have it there. And this one, we simply right click, go to properties, and let's change it to this, and then update. We have it there. Then remember that there is a ramp here that we need to add some two extra columns that will later terminate in the at the mezzanine floor. So let's go back to our architectural plan and try to add this. So what's the distance between this? What's the distance from here to this? You simply have to look for it, or we can simply say this is half of this distance, half of that, half of 45, that's 22 to 50. So let's have introduce a half. We divide the 42 into half. So we just go back to your model here and just right click, just do an offset of F2, which is 2,250, which is a half of 4,500. We have it there. So we can actually add another column here. We just simply click on this properties, just add a column here, then also add another column there. And then in addition to that, I think that we ought to add some smaller columns on this side, and also you have to add other columns on this, just to make sure that our design is okay. So to do that, simply go to our architectural floor plan. Under the architectural floor plan, we have to add this grid here. So we have to identify what's the distance between the main outer wall or the exterior wall and this the interior wall here. Let's just come here and see if it is labeled. Yes, we have it here. You can see it is 660, but remember that the thickness of this wall is 200. The thickness of this wall is 200. So we have here at least the center of this, because the grid, we are taking the grid from the periphery. Okay, it's from the periphery. So this 200 plus this 200 plus, so it's 200 plus 1600. Let's just put 1600. And then it will flash at the center of this plus another 100. So this is 300, that's 1900. So you simply go to your ProtaStructure and offset this grid by right click, property, then you want to do an offset. Right click, then let's do an offset of this grid and press F2 and then add 200, 1900, sorry. You can see how we calculate the 1900, that is 1900 millimeters. You click, so that will take care of that wall. And for this one, I want to introduce some special columns here, smaller columns, that's to mean. So, and then also if you look at this architectural template here, this is this wall here, beam wall load. So we have to introduce another beam. We have this void here, so needed to introduce this wall here. We have a void here and we have to introduce a beam, and this beam we have to create an axis. So let's just look at what's the distance from this grid 5 to this wall here. So to actually have that, yes, you can come here. I think this 1400 or 1450, depending on the. So we can put at 1400 because it's like a walkway, 1400 or 1450. Because this is the wall here, that's 1400 plus 50 plus 100, that is 1550. This is what I mean. There is another 100 extra from this wall. This is a wall of 100 millimeters, but the distance here, it's just 1400 plus an extra wall of 50 millimeter thick, or a partition of 100 millimeter thick, and this one is 100 millimeter thick. If you divide it by half, because the grid will be passing at the center of that wall. So here we'll add 50 on top of this 1400, and we'll add 100 on top of that 1400. So let's just offset this grid by that distance. So that's why I told you that we will be adding extra grid when it comes to adding column, because you have to add our column perfectly before we move to laying of our beam. So come here, right click, just undo, select that, right click, go to offset, press F2, and now insert 15, 50, enter. Then we have it there. And then we also have to look on this other side, what is there. This is the side for the lift. We have a walkway, but we will be having a beam wall load. I'm just interested with this wall load here. So this one we have to introduce another. So this 1800 plus 200, so that is 1900, similar to the other one. So let's just offset this grid here by 1900. Right click, and now we need to offset this by 1900. Offset F2 or shift F2 minus 1900, because we are going towards the left, and we have our grid there. Which one else? What else do we want to take care of? We want to take care of this one. Let's go back to our architectural. This is the ground floor, so we'll take care of these walls here. This one will take care of this wall here. Then remember, where we'll be creating our lift, we'll add extra grids also to take care of that. I think we also need to take care of this wall here. I don't know how far it is from the center. Okay, but now having introduced those grids, we will have to add other columns. So to add these extra columns here, we have to do it like this here. Let's just remember we also had another void here. We want to take care of it. So let's go back to our ProtaStructure and add the extra column. So to add the extra column, you simply come here and now change this one to 200 by 200 so that these beams can actually flush with the walls, or you can do the 220, or you can just simply add 220 to 30 by 230. And this one we can always put them here. Add another one here. We can always add another one here. We can do another one here. Also have that. Also have that. Also have that. We also have this one as a beam. No, we will not need this one here, but we will need this. We will need this one there. So I'll simply delete it. So we also need maybe another beam here. We also need another column here. Not a beam, but a column, sorry. We also need another column here. We need another column, so we have this. This one can be able to sustain it, yes. To take care of our wall, we'll be having a shear wall here. And if need be, we may consider adding an extra column here. So I believe these columns, as they are, they should be a bit bigger. These two, because they are the center column. So I want to make them 4 by 4. So to do that, you simply come here, right click, simply select, because we don't need other columns here. I want to make sure that these of my 4 columns are the critical columns, and I want to make them a bit bigger to 450 by 450. Right click, go to properties, change here. Let me just put them 450 by 450. Update. And then we can simply come here and delete this. Right click here, then simply delete. Then click here, go to properties, and then play with these center columns. I believe these are the most critical columns that we'll be having. Yes, and in addition to these ones here also, these are critical beams, columns I mean. So I'm just making my assumption. I can, just in case of failure, you can come and change, but because I had already done this and I know where the failure is likely to occur. So I think now we are done with our beams, we are done with our column, properly done, and now we can proceed can proceed. In fact, also this one can be a very small column here. This one can be a very small column. We don't need this one to be very big because they are not carrying much weight. As you can see, they only terminate at the mezzanine floor. So we can simply use the 2x2. Let's just do this. So you can always just click this, right click, go to properties. Under properties, we want to add here, insert there, but we'll be inserting with this angle. Make sure it's done properly. But for this center here, we need to do then we need to do this one here, update. And we also need to do away with this. In fact, we are almost done with these columns. So let's do simply right click and now come to this exterior side. I'm doing this based on our design. So this one have to just to change, go to properties, come to this and insert this one because of block boundary. And we have that. I think now we are done with our columns. That's how you do your column in line with your architectural drawing. So I think we're done with those columns. That's what we are going to work with. So in a subsequent lesson, we are going to look at how we can add beams. So let's just go to 3D to see what we have just done. So here are our columns that we are going to work with. So without much, so let's now go back to our beams and we try to align our beams here. So to do that, you simply go to plan view, and under the plan view, you can always check with your architectural template so that you can see the size of our beam could be the size of our columns. No, it will be like the size of our walls. Our walls 200 millimeters. So you can just come here and choose our beams. So to choose your beam, simply come to beam. Under this beam, you just click and define the beam and define your beam. So our beam here, we can have a beam of depth 450. Let's just do a 450 beam. In case of failure, we can always add. That's we have 450, and that is 250. 250 by 450. Not bad, not bad. We can just do with that. And we can just click here, but remember that we're not snapping at the center, we are snapping at the edge. So we'll simply click there, then we'll have our beam like this, our beam like this, our beam like this. So you simply come here and insert our beam. Remember, this column, we have to flash it a bit outside. So let's just delete this beam first. You can simply just do like undo. Come select this column here, right click, go to properties, change it to this type, undo, we have it there. So go to beam, right click, go to properties, continue. So okay, I've just seen. So what we'll simply do here, just undo, and now we have to change our beam. So if you simply click on this beam, go to normal, but now for this side, we just have to click on this, click OK. Click OK, and now just come and start working on your beam. So we have our column here. Let's just look at refer back to our architectural plan. So we are at this point, can actually come like this and then like this. Here it's like an open place. Here is like an open place. So it can simply come like this. Maybe this is a masonry wall. Come like this. So let's just continue. But for this one, you can just put them at the center, no problem. You can simply come here and choose the center, and we can always do like this. But for our case here, we have to choose this extreme end. So you can always right click there, go to properties, change this one to center, update. Also come here, right click, go to properties, and finally we can also do this. So right click here, go to properties, just make it flash. Yes, that will. So we ought to bring this to this end here. So just right click this, snap at this center here, and then go ahead and delete this column. Choose this one, delete this. Then we have our exterior beam model, so you can try to do the interior beams, which now will be snapping at the centers. So let's continue. So with the same beam, just click on normal. With same dimensions, click on that. And make sure you snap when it has just shown you that intersection, the cross. Okay, there was an issue with this column. Simply click on it, go to properties, change it to center, and then update. If there is an issue with this, just right click, delete it. Just come here, right click on this, come to properties, just do another one properly. Nyamazisha mtoto. So you can simply do what I'm just doing. I'm just snapping each and every side here. Remember, it must show the cross. That's when you just click OK. You can simply do the overall length, but it's usually not very recommendable. You can simply click here, come to this, come to this, come to this. Yes, we have to do another beam on this side because we'll be having a beam wall load. That's why I needed these columns. Not really necessary. You can just do without this beam here. Only needed it to cater for our beam wall load, where the walls will be flashing or where the walls will be passing. So we also need this one here, create. So it's not can see this column was not done. So you can return to the center, just click on it, go to properties, come here, choose center, update. You can simply undo it. Let's see. Okay, I've seen where the issue is. The issue is with this beam here, which hasn't snapped at the center. So you can simply go to Now click on center, update. You also can do this, choose on it. Hey, jamani. So we have done our model of our beam. So we can go to 3D and see how it looks like. Remember, we'll be having some staircases here, so we have to add some. Let's go to 3D. See how it looks. So this is how it looks like. This is how our buildings looks like. So what we have to do, we have to add some basement here. We can add it later. We can simply add some basement below. After adding the basement, we add some shear wall here. After the shear wall, I think we will come back to add the basement, but let's consider adding the shear wall on here. I mean the lift. So our next will be on how to model that lift. Let's go to plan view. Go back to our architectural design. So this lift is between grade 4 and grade 3. And we have to see how much is it at the center of these two grids. No. How can we locate this one properly? So we have some dimensions here. As you can see, from the edge of this wall to the edge of this lift is 1100 millimeters. But we can in fact add 100 for this center of this wall, another 100 from this. So we have 200 plus 1,100 should be 1,300. So so we have to offset this grid 4 by 1,300 so that you can snap the center of this lift here. And then our lift is also 21 meters, but from center to center we have to add another 2, which is 24. So let me just show you what's happening here. We're at the grid 3, grid 4 here. I mean this grid 4. Right click, offset, say F2, negative that's 1,300. Press enter, we have it there. Then say F2, negative 2,400. So that is the center grids of our grid. This grids passes the center of that of our lift. Then let's just look at the horizontal lines. So we can simply come back to this and we see how much did it offset. From this wall here, let's just see from this wall has a grid between the wall yes, we can use this one. This is 200, so this is 100. So 100 if we subtract from this 100 if subtract from 2,500, we are going to get I mean this 100 if you subtract from, you see this is the whole distance here and this is the distance here. So simply take this 100 and subtract it here. they will be left by 1500, and just take 1500, it's 02. 1500, if you take this 1500, it is the distance from this grid to the edge of this wall here, and we want it to be at the center, so it will 1550. So we have to offset that by 1550, and then this wall seems to be a square, so this is like a square lift. So that is if we go back to our grid, there is this grid here for this wall, for this beam here. So we have to offset our grid here, right click, offset F2, negative 1550, enter. Let's see, are we right? And then it comes up to this wall here. So our lift will take care of this part, but I feel like we have gone too much. Let's check with the architectural design first. So this lift flashes with this, and it comes, I think it does not click on that. So you can keep this part at 100, and then this one will be from here to here. This is 100, this is another 100 to flash with this, and then we can give this one 1400. So let's see. The dimensions were not very clear, but this one, this is a flash with here. Then what's the distance here? Let's just check. Right click, measure. That's 1500. That is not a very bad for a lift. But let's simply delete this. So if you want to offset this grid here, just click on it, offset. Let's use something like 1200 F negative 1200, enter. So we have that, and then we have this one, right click, offset, negative F2, negative 1400. Properties, offset, F2, negative 1400. So we have our lift area to be this one. So what we'll do, we'll simply come to the wall here. Under the wall, what is the thickness of the wall? You can give it 200. Breadth will be 200. Press enter. Then you can simply mold it here. So what we'll do, we'll simply have to delete this beam first, then come on this shear wall, right click, come to properties, come catch it there, come it here, then from here, come and edit there, and then from there, right click, go to properties, pick it from here. So we have our shear wall, and then now we can actually do our beam later. Right click, properties, click on this, add it there, then repeat. So we have them, and remember this will be our landing. So we can, if you come to this place here, we can see this is our landing. If you come to our architectural here, we have our landing. So we need proper support of this landing space here. These are service ducts. We need a proper service, so we can introduce a beam here, so that we can ensure that this place is safe. So you can introduce a beam and some extra column. So we need a beam here. So we need an extra beam. So let's just do this beam here, copy. Yes, like that. We also had another wall here, but that one is not much. You can work with this. So having done that, we also need to make an opening on our lift. So we can simply click on this, right click, come to edit section material, not section material, but edit openings. Under opening editor, add that beam. So we want to make this 1000, 0. Okay, the width should be, you can just give it to be at that 400. Then we have this height of the wall should be around 2200. And then we can always come here on the y-axis, put it 0. Then on the, this one can give it maybe 200, 1500. Then under 700, you can simply give it 500 or 450. So that's at the center. So let's look at 3D. We see what you have done here. So you can see we have this lift here, already modeled. So we have left a path for staircase, and this is a beam. And I feel that these columns, that's why I have made them to be very critical columns. So let's go back to our 3D plan, our 2D. Right click, change to plan view. So we need a basement. We can do our basement the same as the wall. So if you want to do the basement, you simply come to modeling. Under modeling, just come to shear wall here. We have to prevent the basement from the force from the soil beneath. So you have to do like a retaining wall. So that's technically which you are modeling, and modeling it as a shear wall. So now the height of our basement is 3,000. So let me just take my calculator here. The basement of our calculator is 3,000. So we have to do just 10% of 3,000 multiplied by 0.001. No, 0.01. That's the 10%, and we'll get around 30%. So that's 300 millimeters. So if we come here to the breadth or to the thickness of our wall, we just put it as 300, or the base, that's 300, and then we have just to model along this wall here. But remember that we already have some external beams here. So because we are doing a retaining wall, actually, we will not need to have the external beams. We just have to have a lesser height of our retaining walls. So let's see. If we can do the retaining wall at the end of this, or we just have to remove all this and then we'll introduce beams in another level. So what we have to do is simply click on this. Just click on this, because the retaining wall is also load bearing, so we have no need of this. So click on this, just select properly. Or we can simply do this so that isn't our model, and then we'll just come and do it at the last moment. I know it will be easier to do it like that. So having done that beams, we can simply now go to 3D and see what we have done so far. So our next step will be that we have to assign our beam wall load on these columns. We'll have to assign wall loads on these beams before we can actually now generate other stories of the same. Thank you for watching, and let's meet in our next lesson.